Hello and welcome to Stocks Advisor channel. Here at our channel we are looking for interesting buy opportunities for US-based stocks. Today our video is a little bit unusual because we will look at three stocks simultaneously because they are interconnected and their activity is interconnected. And we will start with Intel Corporation, traded at NASDAQ, ticker name INTC. Well, Intel is extremely famous stock, of course, and what happened with it last two trading sessions was incredible depth that we saw here. After actually 3 days ago it was traded at around 60ish, and then it went really strongly down here, and these two trading sessions it was trading between 50-52. This is incredible drop for such a company as Intel, and of course it's not due to any technical situation in the market or chart situation. It's purely due to news, and the news is that actually Intel won't be able to fulfill its planning for production for so-called 6nm chips, and it is asking another company, TSMC, to make chips for it. This is, if I'm not mistaken, first time when Intel is asking that for other company supply, being world-known historical leader for chip production and making all electronics. And the reason for that is actually very simple. There is only one company that is producing machinery for making those chips, and this is a new machinery, new technology, and every machine is extremely costly. So except looking for other corporations like TSMC that we'll also discuss, this will be our second stock today. Intel actually waited with buying those machines. It was a bit hesitant, and therefore it didn't have enough those. So seems like it's unable to fulfill its production demands for the new chips. And this new machine is called EUV ASML machine. Here is a picture of it. It's a lithography machine. If you're interested in what the lithography is, please Google it. So lithography is a new methodology that is used to make modern chips. And there is only one company in the world that is able to make machines for making 6nm pitch chips. And that company is called ASML. This will be our third stock we will discuss today. So actually, that's the situation for Intel, and it seems like, according to several analysts, that Intel will need up to 1-2 years to cope with this. So yeah, it won't be able to fulfill its demanding production. So there will be delay. It's not a bad news in the sense that there is nothing bad happened. Only possible impact globally is that inability to take on new contracts for Intel, because it will be busy with fulfilling the old ones. But in general, nothing bad happened with the company itself. It will definitely start, of course, buying those machines from ASML, EUV machines, and will start slowly gain up. So long-term speaking, Intel is quite safe. And if you look what happened, for example, like the COVID depth 17, it recovered very well until this news came about inability to fulfill the demand, and actually this trend line was really like clear here, and it was showing several upward trends, like there was a faster trend and then the slower trend actually, then again returned to the faster trend, and suddenly because of this news it dropped. So this drop doesn't mean that something happened with company. It just means that it's very optimistic production plans are delayed now, and it means, of course, that company will require additional investments to buy new equipment, to create and develop new production lines. Of course, it's also time costly, and therefore there is decline because it's additional losses for company with respect to buying new machinery and developing the lines. But again, if you are really like years term buyer, it's a very good opportunity to buy now. Intel maybe wait another dip, because this week still it will probably go down because market will try to find its bottom. But again, it's not expected that it will fall any further than the COVID. So it's just purely, it's difficult to draw any resist line here or support line. It's mainly would be the biggest support would be like the COVID situation. But in general, it's purely the candle analysis here, which is important. So in order to understand when the reversal is happening, or actually it won't be really big reversal, it will be a stabilization, because Intel still needs 1-2 years to cope with growing demand. So it will be somewhere probably in this corridor, but you really need to look at the candles development here. You really need to watch every candle. Most probably the situation will be deceleration and with some jump and then stabilization. And this would be mainly the trading price. Once there is a news that company is buying those machines from ASML and starting to develop new production lines, well, then the stock will be going up. So this is a very unusual case for us, because it's not really about analyzing the charts, but this is more about giving understanding to people what's actually happening for Intel, and what would be the future for it. So it's very interesting stock to buy. Actually, everything that speaking of chart analysis, really about candle analysis, not even chart analysis. Once you see any candle seemingly being like a bullish hammer, so something like that, it will be a very good indication that it's time to buy. Maybe keep some funds for possible average down, but it will be first stabilization, and then once company starts developing extra production lines, of course it will grow upwards. This is huge company, huge history, a lot of technology is there, so there is no way it's really going to collapse. But this is just let's say a bad strategic decision about risks mitigation, while other big guys like Samsung, TSMC, Hynix were buying those machines in numbers from ASML. Seems like Intel was a little bit hesitant, didn't buy enough, so its production lines were not ready for huge demand of those new technology. It's just a management mistake, and it's not giving direct impact or cause of financial losses. It's just inability to cope with big demand. And therefore, once Intel does this, once it copes with production lines, it will definitely grow. So just look for interesting buy opportunity based on candle analysis, not really charts. And if you're a long-term player, just buy somewhere. You can already safely buy from end of the week. Actually, this week will be interesting buy opportunities for Intel, and then of course it will recover. Having said this for Intel, let's go to another company which is actually going to produce those chips for Intel that Intel is not able to produce, and this is Taiwan Semiconductor manufacturer TSMC, and ticker name is TSM. And of course, you can see once the news came for actually Intel that it's unable to cope with production, these two trading sessions, in contrary for TSM, it was crazy up. And this was also with a very positive chart situation. So it was the best ever time that could be imagined for TSM to grow, because after the COVID depth that happened at 17 of March, it was already showing a very stable growth here. Then the growth with acceleration started here, and then also following moving average 20, the green line, you can see that when the last wave was actually finishing, this news came and it's now in crazy boost mode. It was already, speaking of RSI, in a very overbought situation, so actually correction was expected, but correction was not happening because of the news. This is news boosted, and it's very difficult to expect what will happen here. It's already in overboost zone, so it can either go strong correction or go even further upwards. But let's say if you enter now, it's purely casino, you can still hope for further upwards trend, but advice would be wait until the correction of this crazy wave that started 2 days ago. Once it is corrected, it is safe to buy, because TSM will be strongly growing company, so just wait for the correction of the wave here and then it's buy. Because it's a very strong company, especially given that for next 1-2 years it will have produce not only its own contracts but also for extra contracts for Intel, and yeah, it will be in that sense very interesting, while Intel will still to recover. So actually these two stocks are going in kind of anti-correlation because of this news. While TSM will go up, the Intel will go in correction. And then let's talk about the guy who is making all this machinery that Intel is expecting to buy soon. It's ASML. So ASML has shown not only remarkable recovery from the COVID depth, where it was before the COVID at this level, so it completely has recovered. And not only that, it actually gained even further. So it went 30% from the pre-COVID situation, which not many stocks on market, even huge companies, can show this behavior. And actually, it's constantly growing because of these new EUV systems went to big sales. Everyone is buying like TSM, TSMC, Hynix, Samsung, Intel. Everyone is buying. So you can clearly see here the strong upwards trend, which was followed actually by moving average 20. It's so-called 20, 50 to 100 company when moving averages are forming this super solid upwards trend, and it's very solid to buy. Of course, you see those very beautiful and reconforming upwards waves. Now, last 2 weeks actually, there was a consolidation and kind of trying to decide what to do with this big trend one, the green line. So now seems like there is a correction last 2 days, but yesterday you see also driven by Intel, TSMC, TSM news. The wave seems like it's corrected now, it's coming back. Also, RSI says that it's actually ready to regain, to make another wave go up. Also, if you look at MACD index here, it's now in the negative zone, so the break through the positive level and further growth, so beginning of new wave is expected. So in that sense, ASML is very strong, already safe to buy, but of course keep some funds for extra average down. So this would be the first line. And then, of course, well, any maximum of previous wave will be actually a good line to buy, but I don't think we ever go to this second line. So the first line, if we approach the first red line, let's call it support 1, is just buy, because given it's already actually buy in the area of this area, because given the news from TMC and Intel, probably soon the contract will come for ASML for extra machinery for Intel. Therefore, everything that in the dark circle or goes between these two red lines is actually a very good buy for ASML. So this was it for free stocks, Intel, TSM, Taiwan Semiconductor, and ASML. So manufacturing giant ASML for the machinery, and then guys making chips, TSM and Intel. And Intel, of course, due to some management issues, was not enough to cope with demanding growth of the production. So that's it for those three. Good luck. Now you know what to do, what's happening with these stocks, so you will understand how to behave, how to buy and sell. Good luck with it, and do not forget to subscribe to our channel.